Welcome back to the PulpMX Fantasy Show presented by Maxxis Tire. My name is Donnie. In this video, I have 5 riders I want you to look at this weekend in San Diego, tips for the FFL, the weather report, a race day schedule, and an early look at what my team could be come Saturday. And if you want a chance to win an authentic HRC Honda O'Neal Colt Nichols jersey, be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video. Looking ahead to San Diego, even with the week off, there are still a handful of guys that are going to miss the round this weekend. Most notably, Austin Forkner and Marvin Musquin, who would have both been great picks if healthy. Contrary to popular belief, Carson Mumford is not racing this weekend. His Pro Circuit fill-in deal won't begin for another month. Reminder that the PulpMX Fantasy website has 2 features to help with injuries. The first is the big red cross flag next to the guy's picture to denote an injury, and the other is a little checkbox that says only show riders in the AMA qualifying results to, you guessed it, only show riders that put down at least 1 lap time in qualifying. It is not 100% foolproof to lead you to points, as guys can still be put down a time but not be able to line up, but it's a start in the right direction for your team. All right, on to some picks. For this weekend, I have 3 guys to target, 1 to avoid, and a high handicap guy for you gamblers out there, starting with the little class, working our way up. 250 All-Star, let us look at Mitchell Oldenburg. The RotoMoto Concepts Honda rider clocks in this weekend with a 4 handicap, and that fits just perfectly for him. Last season, his average finish in main events and individual Triple Crown races was a cool 5.0, and he was completely inside the top 5 in 7 of 11, but the best part is his floor. Even after a rough day at Daytona, Mitchie still managed to muster 9th, which would get you 18 points this weekend in a bad case scenario. Non-All-Stars, I'm looking at a few guys that should be All-Stars next weekend, leading the way with Styles Robertson. The Star Racing Yamaha recruit had an average finish last year of 7.5 with incredible starts. A1 had some bad luck. He got pinched on the inside during Forkner's cartwheel and was 21st across the stripe, but even then he still managed to come all the way back for a top 10 finish. Give him the start, and I think we can expect from Styles, and I think he could easily hit the mid-30s in San Diego. Moving to the 450 class, for an All-Star, could I interest you in Aaron Plessinger? The number 7 is a handicap 7 this weekend after an 8th place finish in Anaheim. In 2022, AP was top 8 only about half of his main events, but the key stat that I'm looking at here is that his worst healthy finish was 11th. There's a lot of shuffling to be had in the back part of that top 10, and I want a guy with a high floor, and I think AP can be that guy this weekend. The guy this weekend that I want you to be wary of but keep your eye on is Shane McElrath. Sugar Shane had a rough start in Anaheim, qualifying just 25th on the HEP Suzuki before face planting in the first turn of the LCQ. Shane looked rough all day and was 10 spots off of his usual qualifying speed from 2022. Maybe he is not gelling with the bike or just coming in a little underprepared. If he qualifies closer to the top 15, I could see him being a sneaky good pick, but otherwise, if he's outside the top 20 again, there are just better options out there to pick. The high handicap hero of the round given to a rider with a handicap of 10 or more that I think has a realistic chance to score massive points this weekend if you're the type of person that likes to sweat out a little bit of LCQ action for a big payout. Reminder that next week is a Triple Crown round, so you probably want to save those 8 and up handicap guys for next weekend when there is no risk of picking high. But if you want to get a little wild this weekend, why not look at Austin Politelli in the 250s? We haven't seen the 981 compete in the 250 division since 2016, but a guy that made 3 450 main events last year should be able to get himself into the main in the 250 division, no problem. Riding for AJE Gas this year, but remember that Politelli was kind of a stud in the 250 class back in the day, logging 4 straight top 10s in 2013 as a privateer. He only qualified 30th at Anaheim, but if he is closer to that top 20, I think he's worth a look in San Diego. Moving on to the FFLs, Jet Lawrence struck first to open the 250 season, which wasn't much of a surprise given his 3 from last year. If you're looking to counterpick, RJ and Styles are the only other riders on the West that had more than 1 last year, so they could be good options as well. Justin Barcia owned the first one of 2023 to go with his 2 from 2022. Tomac looked great all day with starts, and it would be hard to vote against him since he also had 5 of them last year, but I think Sexton's a great option here as well. I'm not touching FFLs, however, this early in the season, not my thing. Weather in San Diego will be dry and sunny, albeit a bit chilly once the gates drop. It seems that Dirtworks has actually removed all of the Monster Jam dirt that was been sitting out in the elements and replaced it with brand new dirt for the race, so it should be a more typical California condition than what we saw last week. West Coast for a few more weekends. Practice coverage will begin just moments before the 250A group takes place, their first session at 4:30 Eastern. RotoMoto Patreon supporters can expect the enhanced cheat sheet around 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, with the basic qualifying cheat sheets hitting Twitter and Instagram around an hour before the picks lock and the gates drop at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 local in San Diego. Before I show you my early team, I want to talk to you about Maxxis Tire coming on for all 17 rounds so I can deliver these videos for you. You know Maxxis Tire. You know their MX ST tire designed by the king of Supercross and my all-time favorite rider, Jeremy McGrath. It is the newest and most advanced tire in the Maxxis MX lineup, featuring an all-new tread pattern, compound, and composition to provide the stability, predictability, and traction that the upper tiers of motocross demand. Available at your local retailer and also at motosport.com. My Thursday team looks like this. I have Mitchell Oldenburg as my all-star at a 4, Styles Robertson at a 0, TLD Gas is Pierce Brown with a 1, and Steve's favorite 250 rider in the field, Cole Thompson, with a 5. 450 side, I'm looking at Aaron Plessinger with a 7 for my all-star, backing him up with 3 other all-star caliber guys, Malcolm Stewart with a -1, Justin Barcia at a 0, and Christian Craig with a 2 handicap. Speaking of Craig, the prize for the highest championship league score in San Diego is an autographed Christian Craig jersey, but if you're not great at fantasy, that is okay. If you want a chance to win a Colt Nichols jersey, consider joining me over on Patreon. For just about $1 per week, you're entered to win race shoes and autographed memorabilia, and insiders and above double their entries, as well as an exclusive podcast talking fantasy stats on every single rider in the field, and those enhanced cheat sheets that come out every single Saturday. Link for that will be in the description below. Don't forget to follow PulpMX Fantasy and RotoMoto on both Instagram and Twitter for injury updates as the weekend rolls on, qualifying info and stats and banter throughout the race itself, and those fantasy cheat sheets once qualifying is done and wrapped. Thanks as always for watching the PulpMX Fantasy Show presented by Maxxis Tire. My name is Donnie. May your chiz this weekend. Remember that 8 is the greatest. And most importantly, have fun. Good luck, y'all.